Motherhood isn't always easy, but it's always worth it. And we want to help you find your own path to purpose.
Stay tuned. I love you. Happy Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day. This is your son-in-law.
I love you, baby.
Happy Mother's Day, Mom.
Love you.
Best mommy in the world.
Hey. Happy Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day, Mother.
My dear Michelle, I wanted to take a moment to thank you.
Happy Mother's Day, Mom. I'm so blessed and so proud to be able to call you my mother. I'm just so amazed by the person that you are and all the things that you've overcome in life.
What's up? No, hey, Mom. We just want to say Happy Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day.
He's going to continue to bless you. He's going to continue to elevate you and keep favoring you. You're
Amazing, beautiful,
intelligent,
loving, caring,
strongest black woman that I know. And I love you so much, and I'm so glad, so proud and honored to call you my role model.
We appreciate all that you have done for us.
I promise to love and cherish you until the end of time.
Really do appreciate you.
Thank you for always being an amazing person and, being there for me when I need you.
Thank you so much for all that you have done for us so far and what you are going to do. Hallelujah.
Just show me how to not give up. And I'm not going to give up. I'm going to keep pressing because you showed me that if you do, there's results. So thank you.
I'm able to call you Mom.
Just thank the Lord for your prayers.
I thank you for everything that you have done for me.
The seen and unseen. We just want to say from the bottom of our heart, we appreciate you.
And I do love you.
We love you. Best mommy in the world. Hey. And, thank you for giving birth to me.
I hope that you really enjoy Mother's Day the way that a mother should. And I just thank you for everything. Like the knowledge you drop and especially giving me my beautiful wife.
And allowing me to have the best wife in the whole wide world.
I'm just so grateful for how much you've grown. Don't let anything get in your way of being great. You have grown to be a great mother.
And I want to encourage you to keep building and keep growing in the Lord.
And just being a part of my life. I just thank you. Happy Mother's Day.
Oh, happy Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day and keep growing in the Lord. Bless you. Love you.
I can remember a little story. Thank you so much.
Love you. Bye.
Welcome to Mama Issues. I'm Shani.
Hey, I'm Charmaine. Hello, everyone. I'm Mama Shelly, and today we're going to talk about loneliness and motherhood. Let's get right into it. Motherhood isn't always easy, but it's always worth it. And we want to help you find your own path to purpose and promise. Yeah, I remember the time when, I found myself a single mom and you all were pulling on me. I had to work and go to school. That was one of the most difficult moments in my life where I felt like I had all these friends. I had you all to love, but yet I felt lonely. And it was really difficult. And now that you all are mothers, can you all relate to that?
Yes, I can relate because having 4 boys, there's a lot of times where I feel lonely because I'm the only woman in the house, and it does feel like I'm in a frat house a lot of times. So being lonely is normal for me on my day-to-day base because growing up I had nothing but women, and then women can relate. But having boys, yes, I feel lonely a lot.
Yeah, that is difficult.
And yeah.
I think to get a little deeper, I feel like loneliness as a mother, as a wife, as a entrepreneur, I feel like a lot of times you'll lose yourself. So I think the question is how do you keep yourself from feeling like you're losing yourself, but at the same time you're gaining, if that makes sense, you're gaining.
Absolutely.
You're gaining so much in the world, but then again, you feel like you're still losing so much spiritually because you pulling out, you know.
Spiritually, emotionally,
mentally.
mentally.
I can definitely relate to that.
To the mental.
Yeah. So my thing for me was, how do I pour into my daughters? Well, you all know,
Being lonely.
6, 7.
You have to start with yourself.
Yes. But that was my challenge.
Yeah.
How do I pour into myself at the same time pour into 6 daughters who really need me at a critical point in their lives? And it's kind of like generational, because, you know, I had the girls later in life. I had your sister when I was a teenager, and then you popped out next. And trying to really raise myself and you all, I knew that going to school, that's something that I needed to do for you all, pour into you.
Yes.
And then feeling depleted, not pouring into myself. So going back to, how do I, in a world where I'm needed, feel supported as well? And we're all in the house. All of us, you know, we have those moments of laughter, those moments of tears that we shared. But at the same time, how do I pour back into me? And that was the lonely part for me.
Okay, so I got a question, and this is the honest truth. How did you really overcome when your daddy? How did you overcome when he kind of dropped off the scene and
Right, I do.
And dealt with 6 girls by yourself? How did you do that without losing your mind?
Yes.
How did you do that? Because that's a real lonely feeling, and I know that's
because
I
I
haven't
can
experienced that caliber of loneliness. I haven't. So
I-
how did you
yeah.
overcome that?
Having a husband, a family, and then out of nowhere, he just disappears. That is like, who do I call? Like, you're not picking up the phone, you're not answering emails. That has to be difficult, because I can only imagine.
I feel like, well, you all know I'm rooted and grounded in God, and that was my sustainability, being rooted and grounded in God first. And I believe God covered me during those moments, because now that I do look back and I work with other women and teens, and even pour into you all now as young women and mothers and wives, I don't even know how I did it, to be honest. But all I can say is it really wasn't me.
The grace of God.
It was the
But
grace.
what did you
The
do
grace.
on your day-to-day that kept you from?
Prayer.
Because that day-to-day is something else.
Yes. Prayer helped me. And I know you guys probably are like, I'm never going to church a day in my life. But staying in church, going to church, and not just being churchy, but really developing that relationship with God, and those 6 a.m. prayers that we had collectively.
relationship over religion.
Yeah, relationship over religion. Exactly. And it was in those lonely moments that built me, and I didn't even realize that was happening.
That grace, that's when you become gracefully broken, because he's carrying you with the grace of God, and he's just breaking you gracefully, but not too much.
Right.
So I feel like that is how she came over too, because you said you don't know how. It's because you were gracefully broken. God knew how far to break you.
This is the way I like to say, he'll bend.
Yes.
He'll bend.
Yes.
He'll allow you to bend, but not break.
He's a flexible God.
Yes.
Very much.
Yes. So, I mean, I kind of sense, you know me, in my spirit, that you can somewhat feel what I experienced. And I think the real question is, how did you do it without, when I'm having struggles doing it with?
Say that one more time.
How was I able to do it
That was
without?
deep.
That was
You
deep.
gotta
That was
repeat
deep.
that.
That was deep. How was I able to manage 6 daughters, all at different levels, age-wise, mature-wise? How was I able to do it without a spouse? And maybe you're having challenges doing it with.
Okay. I see what
see.
you're saying, because there's
You
an
went
extra
there.
person in
Yeah.
I think there is really I think there's really a balance that I'm really okay. So we moved from Sacramento to here. less than a month ago, and it is a feeling of loneliness because you're not really understanding the things around you, and you know that all you know is God said come, and you don't know why you let go of everything that was familiar. So that is a lonely feeling, but the way I'm navigating through it is I'm really taking a breath. And I know that sounds real simple, but I'm taking a breath day by day, because when you think things are supposed to work together just like this, but it's like God is saying, no, I got another purpose for you, and I'm trying to make you stronger. But I think how I'm overcoming it is really and I know this sounds so taboo, but I'm praying like literally 24/7, because if I don't, then I'm going to break.
Yes.
Another thing that helps me get through the uncertainty is the fact that I expect it to be uncertain every time, because that is who God is. And what I've learned on my journey with him is that if you're comfortable, it is not God. If you are uncomfortable,
that is the truth.
That is so much of God, because he never wants us to get into a comfortable position to where we can't grow, because ministry is all about growing. And that's where we were talking about ministries and moms, and it's like you have to be flexible, because God is flexible.
Absolutely.
Going back to that, you have to have that in order to overcome, because if you dwell on, I can't do it, I'm never going to be able to do it, or I don't feel comfortable doing that. Exactly.
I think
you're not supposed to.
That's part of wanting to be in control.
Yes.
Definitely.
Wanting to be in control.
When you're lonely,
and that's
you
a
want to
conversation for another.
That's another conversation.
Yeah,
but that is true. When you're lonely, it's because I feel like it's a part of you that wants to be in control. And that's why you feel lonely, because you're like, dang, it's not going the way I want.
And being lonely, you need to start upping your faith, because you're not alone. You're not alone. It's the mental battle of, I'm so alone. No, you are telling yourself. The enemy is letting you know that you're alone. So if you believe that is who you become. Because there has been a lot of times where we have spoke about this, and I'm like, I've been so alone in situations, just moving recently, and feeling alone because I didn't let you in.
That's it.
So you have to let
somebody
people in.
Yes.
Not anyone, but you have to let.
Be careful.
Yeah.
Who you let in.
That's another conversation. Yes, you have to be very careful on who you let in. However, you have to love who loves you, and a lot of us don't do that.
I think it comes from internal love, too.
Yeah.
And the steps that I can speak for myself that I took along the way. And as you were talking about your journey, and you're talking about your journey of moving, prior military spouse, you all know we're used to what? Moving.
So we're tired of moving. So God has positioned us in so many positions. Like I'm just looking back as a child, like I'm so tired of moving. I cannot wait to stop moving. And so then when I became an adult, and then it was my turn to listen to God, I was like, you have to move when God says move. But in those moments, you just don't understand. And it's just the thing is that you have to enjoy the journey.
Yes.
In moving.
Being lonely.
I'm not trying to teach Bible study or nothing. But if you look throughout the Bible, however
let's cancel but.
Right. If you look throughout the Bible, the journey was about movement.
Yes.
We serve a God that moves. So I believe that and then if you stay too long in a certain place, you become complacent.
Yes.
Right.
And then you can't grow.
Yes.
So the land of what is familiar, it's a beautiful place. Everything smells good. It looks good. It feels good, because we like to move on what we feel, the senses, but nothing can grow there.
Yeah.
And so it is in the movement, in those places when we're uncomfortable, that God can really pour into us and pull out of us.
That's the truth.
Yes.
That's the
pull
truth.
out of us.
Well, you have to, in order to pull, the growing is pulling.
Absolutely.
Because when the sun shines, it pulls.
Which is the breaking.
Yes,
Which is the breaking.
Yes.
Yes.
You have to be pulled.
I think when you were talking about moving, but you have to really be careful with that because when you are moving, you have to make sure that you're making progression because movement does not mean that you're actually moving forward.
Yes.
Say that again.
It does.
Say that again.
When you're moving, you got to make sure that you're moving forward and progressing because if not, then you just moving in a cycle. The same place but same situation. So we got to be careful with that. But
And that will cause loneliness to move
yes,
unknowingly.
because you keep going in the same circle.
Yes, and that's when you create cycles.
Break it. No cycles.
No cycles, no cycles. And that's what loneliness will try to have you doing. Being in cycles, the enemy can play with your head. Like, oh, yeah, you lonely, but you really not. Because there's so many people that's going through you may be going through the same thing I'm going through, but I'm not voicing it. You get what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like you were saying, you got to reach out. And that's my situation, too. I'm learning in this move that I need to allow somebody to do something.
Yes.
We just had to talk about that. I need to let go and allow somebody to come because, you know, you're so used to, oh, no, you do it, you do it, you do it. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, sometimes we cause our own loneliness because of that.
That's true. That's true. Yes. Well, for me, you know, growing up without a mother, I wasn't lonely, but I was alone a lot.
Yes.
Being the youngest of the family and not having anyone to really pour into me.
Right.
So I kind of was raising myself the entire time. And then, you know, when my mom passed, I moved with my dad. Another move.
Yes.
So I was never able to really get comfortable. And unfortunately, maybe fortunately, but unfortunately, we know all things work together for the good.
Yes.
You all picked that up. In unison. You all picked that up. But I'm sure that root of me being alone, you know, kind of lended to loneliness and isolation. So that's something else that we have to be careful. Know when it's time to be alone.
Yes.
Yeah.
Go there.
Know when it's time to be alone in that cocoon.
Yes.
Because that's when God develops you and molds you. I feel like you want to say something.
When it's time to be alone so you don't feel loneliness.
Right.
Because it's very important to take that time alone. And being alone, not being alone really causes loneliness. I've learned that. So having self-care, not self-maintenance, self-care.
That's the difference.
Self-care, not self-maintenance. Self-care is spiritually feeding yourself, mentally feeding yourself. Maintenance is hair, nails, makeup, clothes. Self-care is what's needed
in
to
soul.
Not feel lonely.
Yes.
Soul
food.
Soul.
Self-care. Yes.
Not soul food.
That's
soul
a
food.
well, that'll work too.
Either way.
Hey, that's my little go-to.
You always gotta eat, right?
Yes.
But
yes,
the
like
challenge is, I didn't mean to. Oh, okay. The challenge is, and you ladies are there because my baby is almost grown. So.
Must be nice.
Right. But it's being a mother. And that's the difficulty in finding that self-care. Because if I could tell my younger self what I know now is take those moments. And that's what I share with you ladies. Take those moments. Your kids, they'll be fine. They have fathers. They have really good fathers. Thank God.
Thank God.
Take those moments. You know, they don't have to go with you to the grocery store every time.
Right.
They don't have to always be with you. And I really like what you said. That's a diamond right there about self-care versus self-maintenance. Like, I'm gonna go get my nails done or whatever. But are you feeding your soul?
Like, no, go meditate.
Right. Yeah. Meditation.
Okay, so what about the woman that or the mother that doesn't have a help? You get what I'm saying?
You need to let people in and stop having trust issues. Point blank.
But what
period.
if you don't have nobody?
What if you don't? There's someone. God, if you open up and you stop putting boundaries on yourself, God will give you who you need.
Right. Yeah.
Something that Pastor Mike Jr. has taught me is God never gives you what you need. It's always who you need. So if you trust in God like you say you do, the help will come. And I know you can piggyback off of that.
Absolutely. Because I remember there were times I thought, nothing against the church, because, I love the Lord and corporate worship. But there was a time when I thought that the church family should help me when I was pregnant back to back. But it wasn't. It was people on my job that God wanted to use.
Right.
That blessed me so that for diapers and wipes, I didn't have to pay for anything for over a year.
Wow.
But God knew that we were in struggle mode at that time.
We're looking for our help instead of God's help. That's the problem.
Ooh, that's good.
And that creates loneliness.
Okay. Ding.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. So how can you let
'Cause it makes
someone?
sense.
Yeah. How can you let someone in after? For me, I didn't have, like I was saying back my childhood, I didn't really have the luxury to let people in because I was just. Once my mom died, I went from Barbie dolls to
The
I was
way
in
you let
survival
people
mode.
in, what I've learned, you have to stop changing who you are and change your environment. That is the key to success. Personal success. Because I've learned that over time, I'm turning into an angry person. I'm turning into someone that doesn't trust. No, continue to be you and change who made those decisions to act that way towards you. Don't change you. Change
The environment.
period.
Yeah, because I learned if you don't change, like either one thing will happen. Either you will change your environment or your environment will change you. So that's a good diamond. Good diamond.
Yeah.
So does that
Is
answer
there
your
any more
question?
leading?
I know you know about changing environments, girl.
We all know about.
Definitely.
Oh,
But yeah.
I hear a backstory.
Yeah.
Transitioning.
From what changing story you think?
Oh, I was just thinking when you were a teenager.
Oh,
You were feeling lonely a lot as a teenager,
Yeah,
so
'cause-
you tried to fit into other environments.
But let her tell her. See, I have a feeling you all know something I don't.
You
That's
do,
the
we
sister
do,
code?
we
That's
do.
the sister code?
We know a couple of things.
Well,
you don't
you know,
right?
you
You
know.
know, girl. You know.
But now you
Mama
grown.
issues. You
Right.
don't know.
It's safe. It's safe.
You
it's
always
safe.
think, but we just protecting you. Your
Oh,
peace.
okay. So it's not about me.
yes.
I still don't hear you sharing.
I'm trying to figure out what this is.
Which
sorry,
one to
this-
share?
Yeah.
Whatever God lays on your heart.
Can't get a whooping no more.
Right.
You know.
Girl, you better talk.
Give us free.
I think really when you're watching loneliness, you have to be careful on who, like just thinking back to one of the stories when I was growing up, because you do feel a sense of loneliness when you're a teenager because you're a little misunderstood. And then at that, honestly, I felt like part of my childhood was a little taken a little bit because I wanted to help so much and I wanted to help, with the kids because they were so young. And so I felt in that sense of always pouring myself out, just feeling a little lonely. And so that's why you might have seen a little act up, but but it was just, expressing, not understanding how to express yourself. So you really definitely have to figure out or be careful on how you approach being lonely when you're a teenager. You run to any and everybody that accepts you. And go ahead, baby. But you run to any and everybody that accepts you. For instance, when I was talking to
Who, me?
we ain't saying no names, but
I already
said who?
no, not you, girl.
We know who she's talking about.
No, we
You
don't.
would accept
Who?
your loneliness will
Give me
allow
a
you.
look.
But listen, your
I can't give
loneliness
you that
will
look.
allow you to. Y'all gonna hey, step back into your loneliness will allow you to get beat. Your loneliness will allow you to downplay your self-worth. Your
Yes,
loneliness
yes.
will allow you to do all those type of things. I remember I was so lonely at the point in time y'all had moved back to California, I believe.
And this is the time when you called me, and you was like, Charmaine, get your tail. I ain't gonna say all of it, but get your tail on the plane. What are you? Right.
Lord forgive me.
But that was in the moment, because I remember I was sitting on my porch at that time, and this is when y'all had left, so I really had nobody at the time. This is a real lonely point. And I sat on the porch, and I was just crying my eyes out to the point where I was just so puffy. And I said, Lord, I need help. Like, I need something. Like, I was on the verge of killing myself. Like, it was that deep. And I remember, I thank God, because I was supposed to get off at that at the job that I was at. And the person that was supposed to relieve me from that job, they came in late, and I was like, I gotta go. Young folks always in a rush for nothing.
Nowhere.
But right, we always in a rush. But anyway, so when I finally got there, the folks had busted in, and they was like, are you so and so?
I didn't understand what you meant by the
You know who I'm talking about. The suited people. They in all black. All right. Nothing but eyes. And so they was like, are you so and so? I was like, oh Lord, here we go. Give me everything you got. I was like, oh God, okay. So at that moment, though you may not feel like God is answering your prayers, God is really answering your loneliness prayers. And so
sometimes God puts you in that position because he's forcing you, because we're very stubborn.
That was a literal
force.
That was a literal force.
He forced you
because
out of loneliness.
Yes, he forced me. He literally pushed me out of loneliness, and he said, I'm going to answer your prayers because this is exactly what you need. You may not think this way, but this is that is what I needed.
Yes. Right.
And so they were like, they went through with their process of searching and everything. And so then after that,
what was they looking for? No, I'm just playing.
They was looking for paraphernalia. So when I was in that lonely phase, it was just like back to back. I was allowing myself to get beat, jaw broken. Like it was. Mom, don't look like that on the set. But it was a point in time in my life where I just was really, really lonely. But how I got through it is I allowed myself to open up, because, though I was not voicing it to y'all had no ideas. But I'm telling you, prayer works. Yes, because I know you was praying. Somebody was praying.
Oh, I was praying.
Somebody was praying me out that hole, that miry clay. Okay. But
somebody was blowing on the
that's why I say you have to be very, very, very conscious of how you allow yourself to get lonely. That's why you say change your environment, not the people. Because if you allow your people to keep changing and you still lonely, instead of getting out of that environment, that toxic environment that I was in, allowing, somebody to talk to me any kind of way, treat me any kind of way, you know what I'm saying? Go out and come back and you just, oh, sorry. I thought we was, but you allow somebody to just step over you. You get what I'm saying? Because you're so lonely. That's why you have to be conscious, really conscious of, I'm just reiterating because I feel that you have to be very conscious of how you and who you allow around you in your circle. If I did not have y'all, because I did not let y'all in, y'all would have never known.
Right.
Y'all would have never known. Right. And it was by the grace of God, because I could be dead by this time. Dead or in jail. And if I did not allow y'all in my circle and say, hey, this is what I'm going through. And I don't even remember how I even talked to you about that situation.
I had a dream.
You did have a dream, and I did too. And that's how God worked. So thanks for tuning in to another episode of Mama Issues. So if you like this episode, please don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe.